Alright, day 7 update. Jack, start.
Scene design, again, it's just what I do pretty much at this point. Going through a lot of things, working on functionalities. We did, well, originally we were thinking of designing each movie in the fashion of a crystal ball, where you can pretty much grab, there's crystal balls, which I have did today. That's what I implemented. Grabbing crystal balls, you just toss them, and then when you want to, let's say, play a movie, you put it almost like a slide roller coaster thing where the ball will slide into position into, let's say, a final place. What's that?
It's an altar. You put it on the altar and something happens.
Yeah, so you slide into the altar and then you do scene transition and go to the next scene. But maybe that's a little bit overcomplicated. I have been discussing with Travis, and for the art style that I'm doing, or that I have been trying to pursue, which is ultra realistic, it might not necessarily be the best thing to pursue, in terms that it's still hard for 3D modeling and CG to be better than films, which means it's not going to be completely realistic. When people see it, people will know that's fake, but it's not fake because it looks pretty real. It's high definition. Like, even if you do high definition, we write good shaders, it will still be, the art style will still be weird. It will be awkward, and it will have little bit, like, it will have so little of a tolerance on this, right? If you mess up a single centimeter on your face, let's say a constructed face, in terms of like distance, the eyes and stuff, it looked totally weird. It looked to be a different person. So maybe ultra realistic is not the way to go. Maybe it's better to go for a animated or even cartoonish art style, similar to, well, he said Inside Out, which I agree, but I was thinking of what's the name again? Ghibli Studio, and
Yeah.
who's the owner of Ghibli Studio? Miyazaki, right? So similar to Miyazaki, right? Simple colors only, very bright, strong contrast, and a simple art style. Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe it's better that way, since that will be a lot more tolerant on the art, and it gives the user much more space to fill in their imagination, which still means more space for us to grow and exactly.
Yeah, so we'll have to, if we do that, we'll have to experiment with how a flat 2D art style, animated art style, can really work in a three-dimensional space. We'll have to see how we can utilize 3D. I guess it's going to be projection mapping rather than 3D modeling. And the person, I'll have the skybox, which is fixated. So there's a lot of challenges that come with that. What Jack was mentioned earlier was the uncanny valley. There's a type of saying, or rather there's a graph that shows people's interest and I guess affection towards computer generated content. As it gets more and more real from your very basic low poly design, people tend to like it more and more, but there's a point where there's a huge drop off rate where it becomes creepy, and we're trying to avoid that right now. If we follow the path of ultra realistic design and hyper realistic design, basically what will happen is we're going to hit that uncanny valley most definitely, and we want to avoid that. And also, like, what we found is that people actually don't want to see something realistic in VR, because what's the point of VR if it's something realistic? So it's a bit of a struggle for us right now to find out what exactly would be the right way of doing things. We try to make really good design, simplistic, to the point, functional, but at the same time there's a lot of things that we want to implement that we thought really engages the user. But there's one thing about making content and making platform. When we're creating content, a film or a game or anything like that, you really want to immerse this. You want to immerse the user in a story. You want to create that kind of localized immersion in which they belong in your world. And that's the approach we kind of went with, while designing this platform. The biggest problem we see right now is that perhaps immersion in the platform isn't what we should go for. It should be, how fast the user can get to the content they want to see. If you look at platforms like, traditional platforms like YouTube, Vimeo, stuff like that, like it's very traditional, very simple. You click, you search, and you play. There's not really a lot of interaction, and maybe like VR is different, and we can't really decide on, this right now because we don't know, right? VR could be different. VR could be very, very different. It could be that people want to stay in this, scene that you created for a long time. For us personally, we're always exploring, what the platform designer has in mind. Frankly speaking, there hasn't been any platform that actually has taken this route. It's a very risky route, and what if people don't actually like it, right? You can see a very simple version of this when you look at the Samsung Gear loading screen. At the beginning, it's really cool, but then like having to play that animation every time at the launch tend to get very repetitive and boring afterwards, and we don't want to design a scene like that. So, how can we, how can we overcome this? Our Firefly scene is beautiful and gorgeous, but it gets repetitive. They have to shoot and open a door every single time.
Yes.
So then, like, it has to have changes, right? Every single time they open it, has to be a surprise. And what we could do is just like, different times of the day, different things happen.
Which is okay. We thought about this back then.
Yeah, like
interesting, right? Where it's like you implement time of the year because it's easy, and then
time of the day.
Yeah, time of the day. You change skybox, change the direction of the sun. Time of the year, you change the steam, you change the color tone of the scene, right? From winter to like spring, summer, fall, and then maybe you do like special holidays, right? Google does that. Google does that kind of thing for their logo every once in a while.
Artwork. But the problem with this is like, it's a hefty work for things that relatively have no users, and for us, like I really can't put my finger on it, like what exactly is right. I mentioned Inside Out because I actually really like the way how the orbs and memory fall together. A 360 film is a spherical film. That's what it is. It's an orb, and we do this anyways. We map it onto an orb. So projector wise, that's exactly what we do. Problem with that is it's still too much friction, in my opinion. What I wanted was like all the films would be set on a some kind of shelf or shelving mechanism. You use this magic wand and you point and you summon it, and then you hold it and then you put on the altar in which it starts playing. And so it's a very well designed mechanism if it was real life. Magical libraries, how you search for stuff like that. It's very highly influenced by different kind of sci-fi clips, film stories, short stories, etc. But in a real life implementation, I'm afraid that what users want to do on our platform is to get to the point. We talked about dimming the light and really immersing them in certain situations before they watch the film and really getting them in the mood. At the same time, like, I'm not sure, after looking at Within first, like, I'm not sure if this will work. I would love it, if it works, but
it's better if it's an instantaneous approach.
Yeah,
which means like you dim the light, you click on the screen or click on play, the movie plays instantly, it loads without any kind of lag or latency.
We're not talking about any of that. It's just how to get to the point.
No, but the thing is, if you delay the user for like what the scene does that I feel awkward is it tries to set if it tries to set a mood, right? And then I click play.
It doesn't set the mood. It doesn't need to set the mood.
It doesn't.
It doesn't play because we have shitty internet in China. Their users aren't here. Their users are in the States. So are ours. We don't have to worry about that.
But sure, it's still a problem because think about it, right? It's the mood that you sent me is 2 gigs for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
How fast would that have to be low per second? Like, what was the bandwidth requirement for the user to see that movie 7 minutes, 2 gigs?
Depend on the compression.
Without lag. Right?
But that's not the concern we're talking about right now. That's a completely different problem. That's a technical problem. Technical problem isn't a problem we're having right now. We haven't even gotten to the technical problem yet. Right now we're stuck in the design phase. We literally don't have to think about that right design that actually
My
works.
point was you don't have to dim the light. Like it's pointless to dim the light if you cannot get user instant satisfaction.
No, the dim the light is rather a metaphor. Like we're not really dimming the light. What we're doing is creating an atmosphere where they
Well, we
feel.
are dimming the light. Like we are actually creating the atmosphere. Right?
We are, yeah, but it's just like, creating a scene that represents and showcases what they will be seeing. For example, when they select a scene,
What I mean is
the
just
background
that,
changes.
What
that
I
kind of
mean is
stuff.
just that they have to link seamlessly. That's right.
What?
What I mean is just that they have to link seamlessly. Like from time
Right,
user
of course.
to time finish a movie, all has to be seamless.
It does. But the thing is, that will be a technical problem for us. We have to find out whether or not they'll be wanting to
I
point
wonder
click.
whether that's doable. That's my concern.
The doable thing will always happen. Like the one thing about tech is like everything is doable. There's no such thing as not doable.
Not being
The thing is, you pay enough money, it's all doable. You want more bandwidth, pay for it, right? It's doable. We know it's doable. We just
And we also have to face majority of the market, by the way.
right, exactly. So
Which
either we bear the burden on the cloud, or they do. And computers are getting better and better. People who can afford VR are a certain kind of demographic. We can expect certain kind of behavior. So in that aspect, we don't actually have to care too much. Eventually, we go to mobile, like it's a different story too.
which is
Yeah.
I guess a concern here because you're not ready right now we're targeting Silicon Valley. And I'm fine with targeting Silicon Valley, right? But eventually you want to target the world.
While we
The
wait
world
for them
is
to
like,
catch up,
oh wow, that's gonna be
right?
many years to come. China's like not even 10 years.
We're definitely not going to target China. They're not going to let us in anyways. Media censorship. There's no way
or
they're going
even
to play our
Canada,
film
that's
here.
where you're from, right? It's like
So the thing is
2
that we
years,
have to look
5
at
years.
VR adoption rates, right? That's like saying, oh, okay, why don't we just not care at all? Because like, if you want to build VR and you want to target mass market, not possible. It's literally not possible, right? That's a huge concern for the VR industry too. How the hell are we going to have people buying headsets that are $799 and a computer that's $3,000 in order to run that? Plus, you need a space like this in order to actually carry out whatever experience you want to build for. There's no way that we can expect the world to catch on, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't, because right now, in this industry, in this time, at this point in time, we're literally trying to build for what the investors are looking for.
Well,
If they believe, they believe.
Yeah,
All we
they
have to do
believe
is have
you
faith.
invest in the future. One day, everything
Yeah.
might be able to catch up, and then simple.
So as long as the users are okay with it, at the moment, the users who can afford us, I don't give a crap. I literally don't give a crap.
You know that everything you said is like catch on tape, right?
Yeah, I literally don't give a crap, and that's the honest truth. I don't censor myself on tape. I know YouTube, but I don't. It's straight up. This is what I mean. So it really, really matters. We have to build for an expectation that's higher than current.
Yes.
And I think if we want to design this, we want to build this, we want to have this platform actually work. We're not designing for a world today. We're designing for the world tomorrow. And whether or not people have the patience, like maybe VR will be different, but right now in terms of UI flat design, functionality comes first, simplicity is favored. What we have right now is the opposite of that completely.
We're pretty simplistic.
No, number one, we have keyboards that is custom designed, specifically built for certain kind of feelings. And it's a very robust design that we have right now, and most of it, for the most part, is friction. We have very high friction. The
But it's
time
robust.
it takes, it doesn't matter if the user don't want robust, then I have no idea. But
So,
right now,
okay.
I'm literally foregoing what conventional user experience and user interface guys will say, right? Building a website, everybody has a call to action, or rather, everybody has a purpose and a function. The flow, the story, all has to make sense. Our platform, not so much. We literally build for an entire experience. The whole thing is like a film itself already. We start somewhere, we get somewhere else. We have the user do certain amount of action that actually has higher friction than anything I've seen in VR, and then we play the film. So, in general, like
It's
this
like
would be something that's
it's
completely
like game and the
completely
film
different.
together, right?
Which is the problem. It's not a game, right?
It's
We're
not
trying to build a
intended to
platform.
be a
A
game.
platform should be a tool. A platform should be a bridge to go from one place to the other. The shorter the bridge, the better, right? It's like right now we're building a long bridge that has
Has good sceneries.
right, the best scenery, the best view. But how many times do you actually
You
want
just
to
do it
see
through
the
the first
scenery?
time, or you just do it.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? Like when
Game
we
has
build
a
a
tutorial, right?
no, we
Like,
don't
every
care about
game
like
has
that.
a tutorial.
But the thing is, we're not trying to make it like a game. We're trying to make it like
yeah,
a
no, but you
platform.
still have to teach a user how to use your
See,
platform.
that's
at
number
some
one.
point.
That's the
You
biggest
have to-
problem. Anything that requires a manual or a guide is flawed already. If the iPhone comes with a thick instruction manual teaching you how to use
Right,
it,
but the
you're not gonna
a
want
problem about VR is there's nothing like for games. There's specific language, right? For game, you see a barrel that's red, you know that is explosive arrow. You shot it, it explodes, right? It's a common gaming language.
Exactly.
For VR, there is no common gaming language.
but it starts somewhere.
It's
The
just
common language starts
the
somewhere.
critical mass has not been hit yet. There's no.
But that's the thing, right? When the iPhone came out, they were very consistent in their design. Top left corner, what does that mean?
Something on top left corner.
Back page.
Right? Oh, okay, yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, you don't use an iPhone.
All right. Yeah, it's used to. I remember now. Yeah.
There's only one button. It goes home.
Yeah, the circular one. Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, how? I don't remember. How does when the first
That's exactly how it works.
when iPod? No, it was back then when the iPod was there. That's how that's everything. That's how it worked. right?
iPod was a scroll. There was the iPad Nano. And
No,
then-
but iPod has that home button as well.
right.
There's a scroll and a home button, right?
No,
so at some
play
point,
button. It's a play button.
Oh, yeah, I guess. But it zooms back. If you press it once, it zooms back to the
Oh.
menu. But at some point, you have to teach the user that's what it does, right?
But the thing is, the user should be able to figure it out without any manual. That's the thing. It should be so intuitive that it makes sense. So that's the biggest problem with VR right now that we see as well. Like, I think we're way too complicated. Remember the thing where we had casting casting
Right, yeah,
itself?
still, nobody gets it.
Nobody gets it. Nobody had any clue how the fuck to use that
This
thing.
controller has
But it is-
has
right.
multiple buttons, right? It has primary fire, it has a secondary fire.
But no,
and
the
has
thing is, the
first.
trigger is obvious. People get the trigger. What people don't get, right? What people don't get is the fling, is the throw,
It's
is the
the motions,
casting.
yes.
You know, like magic spells. Intuitively, we thought that's how you cast a spell, but no, people are used to when they pull a
People are
trigger,
used to
they're shooting
things.
something.
Yeah.
So that's something that we would, you know, myself at least felt like, you know, whatever we do right now is completely going to be destroyed in terms of users because
Users don't understand.
no one is going to understand this.
Except
The
designers,
crystal ball,
nobody else
the
does.
crystal ball,
Yeah.
it makes total sense to us because it's intuitive. The fishbowl, it makes sense because we like it, and we think about macroscopic perspective, microscopic perspective, how it's a microcosm of something else. You know, there's all these things that really make it an art project rather than a functional platform. And when Jenny's here, she gives all sorts of inputs, like for example, having
A
you know,
cat
a
that's
cat on
reaching-
top reaching in, like you know, all this stuff completely makes sense in terms of art, and it's brilliant in
It's
terms of
beautiful,
art.
yes.
But in terms of a platform, it's completely useless, and it's rather detrimental to the user experience. And it is, and this is like something that we really have to.
But isn't VR the point of VR?
Right,
It's
that's the
also
thing.
a show,
So
right?
that's a different thing, right? So I would have said no to all of it from the start if this was nothing. If it was
For the
anything except
browser.
for VR.
Yes,
If anything
like
on
for
the
the
browser,
browser, it
anything
makes
2D,
sense
this would be
because-
completely ridiculous. But right now we're targeting virtual reality. So there's an excuse to test, but it's a risk that's pretty big. And that is something that we have to discuss and be very careful in. If we don't want any
That's
kind of
true.
design award in VR, I think we do have to go this route and experiment.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
A/B testing.
where do we draw the line? You know, like
That's hard.
how many layers do we give the user? Right now they have to open a door. No, first they have to learn how to pick up the magic wand. There's
It's
a
fine.
manual
It's a
that
controller.
kind of have a rhyming poem to it.
Don't
That's
use that.
that's easy to figure out. They open a door, it loads the scene. Now they have to figure out. Now they're in a completely brand new environment again, and they're feeling unsafe. They're exploring again. You know, take this cat. You put this cat in a new environment, it gets scared. Doesn't do anything. All it does is pokes a head around. You know, that's what we're giving the user. Like we put them in a fundamentally scary location because we have no idea how to design a cozy environment right now. The fireplace, the scene, like library, that would have been perfect. But no, we decided to go one step further with that, right? You know, we want the fishbowl experience. Now you're floating in midair. Now you have a flying whale around you. Now you have water in front of you. Like you know, all this is beautiful when you look at it. The skybox is nice, the sun is awesome, everything works. But at the same time, like, it's a layer of friction there to understand, to really take it in.
Yes.
So how long does it take a user to go from the first, loading scene all the way to when they actually get to play their film? Now we have a search bar, we have a beautiful keyboard. There's no explore function. There's no real way to explore this content. Within works very well because you're actually, looking at
A panel
the
directly, yeah.
entire panel that they have.
You look at
to
the entire
select.
collection.
Because they don't have much content, it works. We don't have much content either because VR doesn't have much content. So I'm beginning to think that all the things we said about them and how they're fundamentally, choosing the easy way out, I think there's a reason for that. And I think maybe they did this because they know content is scarce, at least good content is scarce, and they've done enough research on users to figure out the most simplistic way and shortest distance from
Point A to
landing
point B, right.
to playing that film.
Well, in that sense, we could just cut out everything else and just leave Firefly scene, right? And then just have all the, figure out a way to display all the movies, and it would be perfect.
That's something else we could do. Maybe the movie will be different doors and we can go in through the doors. So there's
Somehow.
there's so many things that, in terms of development, we go so far and then now we cut all this away. We go back to square one and we do it again. It's just I think this is just something that it's a good reflection. Like the Firefly, for example. Jenny and I came up with that maybe a year ago. We completely forgot about that.
Oh, the Firefly logo.
Exactly. Everything was forgotten, and we went full circle. We went from simply shooting films to doing this,
Platform,
doing that,
software,
platform,
everything.
tourism shoots, commercial shoots. It's just okay, and then platform this, platform that, mobile app. There's just we went full circle with camera, robotics, and now that we're coming back, we're trying to find our roots, and it's just we cut everything out, and then it seems that first intuition is almost always right. So here we are, back in square one. We have a beautiful scene design for Firefly. How do we use that to lead to either a second scene or lead to a shoot?
Or, yes, to a comprehensive.
But we've experimented going from Firefly directly to our shoot. It doesn't work. We have 360 films, but our Firefly is completely CG. Within is good because they actually use realistic meshes, and also they use a 360 photo as a skybox with terrain laid in front of it.
I actually don't see it working out. The scene, it's still very contradictory. Because it's still...
You haven't played a film. You did not play a film from it yet.
Okay, I'll see.
Yeah.
But I doubt it because still...
It works better than ours. The feeling is weird.
True.
It's really weird. You go from a completely dark Firefly scene and all of a sudden you're playing a film that's quite bright. It doesn't work.
And realistic, like 4K, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. It's tough to make
Something
this
worth
decision.
exploring.
And I mean, we're stuck right now, but I don't know. It's 4 a.m. again, and we're still stuck. 5 a.m. now. We're still stuck.
I'm doing sorry this too.
Yeah, our cat's been asleep for a while now. So, what's next? I don't know. We'll have to
Go
figure
home.
this out. Yeah.
Come
I'll
back
think-
tomorrow.
We'll just sleep on it, think this through. We'll go tomorrow and figure it out. What do we want? How do we do this? Why do we do this, rather? There's so many different things that we have to think about in terms of, how everything should flow. Right now, it's beautiful as an art piece, but too much friction as a platform. People don't want to go through loading this, loading that, and loading everything. People want to go in, select, play. At least that's what we think. At least traditionally, that's what people want. Maybe in VR they want to explore, but do you really want to go through the same path every single
Time? No.
We should be a bridge, and the bridge should be best functional. If you have a beautiful view that doesn't change, you're going to get sick and tired of it if you drive over it every single day.
Well, maybe just once. I don't agree with the idea to drive over.
Then what's the point?
A good first impression.
Right? And
That's it. First impression is important.
the first impression doesn't mean a fleshed out scene. It could be a bad first impression at the same time. Wow, this is very cool.